The recipe for a great meal takes more than just cooking. It's about people, passion, history, and adventure, in the kitchen and out. I'm Chef Biju Thomas. I've been an athlete, author, and a lifelong lover of food.
This is amazing. Just make really delicious food, simple, and it works.
I've learned that the best meals can take you down the road less eaten. The Florida Keys are unlike anything else on the planet. A series of islands that somehow managed to sprout from a string of ancient fossilized coral reefs and limestone. It's a place that shouldn't be easy to reach, but that hasn't stopped thousands of ships from making this their permanent home over the centuries. The isolation has fostered a culture that is one part rugged individualism, one part laid-back ocean lifestyle, and a flood of influences from around the globe that all collide along a line where the Atlantic meets the Gulf of Mexico. Fortunately for us, there's a 127-mile marvel of engineering and tarmac called the Overseas Highway that connects mainland Florida with the southernmost point in the continental U.S., Key West. It has acted as a cultural bridge since its completion in 1938, and it's how I start my culinary journey right here in Islamorada. Islamorada is world-renowned for its access to amazing sport fishing. When you want to learn how to fish in these waters, there's few who do it better than legendary journalist, angler, and TV host John Brownlee. Along with Captain Greg Poland, I feel like I've got the right crew to help feed me for a lifetime. To reach the open waters, we cruise out past the mangroves and head toward Alligator Lighthouse.
Biju, this is Alligator Lighthouse. This is about halfway down the chain. There's lighthouses all the way from South Miami, all the way to Sand, Key Light, and Key West. This one is, I think, the prettiest one of them all, the most iconic. A U.S. Navy ship named the USS Alligator ran aground here in 1821 at night, and they couldn't get it off. But in the end, they burned it so it wouldn't get taken over by pirates. So this became Alligator Reef in honor of that ship.
So it doesn't operate anymore.
No.
Now it's just there as a historical site.
It's privately owned.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, the government got tired of maintaining these lighthouses, and private foundations have taken ownership over them and are restoring them and maintaining them. It's kind of cool.
Surrounding the lighthouse is a sanctuary preservation area. We need to first move outside of this area before we start dropping lines. Seeing all the birds pulling fish out of the water over there is probably a good sign for us as well.
You see that yellow ball right there? That marks the corner of the sanctuary preservation area.
Okay.
Can't fish inside there. See, there's yellow balls all the way around. We're outside of it, so we're legal, and it's starting to drop off a little bit. We got chum going, and as you can see, we have fish in the chum already.
What kind of fish are those right there?
Yellowtail snapper. Very good to eat. Beautiful to look at. There's nothing about them not to like.
There's the yellowtail right here.
And what you want to do is you let the line go back in free spool without closing it. And when it takes off, let him eat it for a second, just flip it closed and sweep the rod back.
How big do these guys get?
You know, a big one would be 6 or 7 pounds.
Okay.
Here, you want to get them? Reel them in.
I think we got a bite here.
Wind down, lift it up, wind down, lift it up, wind down. Don't forget to breathe.
Come on. Man.
Turn the handle, Randall. You gotta get him in.
For being little,
yeah.
This genuinely feels like you're pulling up a tractor.
They're strong. We're not sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not a tractor. All right, Biju, come on, we're all pulling for you. It's gonna be dark in about 4 hours, so I'm just saying. So.
You wanna check?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you're rocked up.
Ah, so I was trying to pull up rocks this whole time. That makes sense. No fish on that go.
0 for 1. You're 0 for 1.
0 for 1. All right, all right. Now you can see them everywhere. It's fantastic.
Rule number 1.
Yeah, rule number 1.
Don't fuck it up.
Don't f it up. Rule number 1.
Rule
all
number
right.
1.
Look at that, yellow.
Yay! The desired species.
Hey, finally a yellowtail. We got another one of these little guys.
Beautiful fish, wonderful to eat, and one of the prime game fish you're going to catch in the Florida Keys. That's, you know,
nice.
That's a staple for a lot of different kind of charter boats and private boats alike.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bridge, you're in Florida Bay and the Gulf of Mexico. On this side, it's the Atlantic Ocean, and this is where they meet. So you got species from both huge bodies of water converging right here. And there are more saltwater species of fish available in the Florida Keys than anywhere else in the United States.
Wow.
There are bigger fish elsewhere, bigger species that don't swim here very often, but almost everything saltwater is here at one point in time during the course of a year.
So John, how long you been fishing out here?
My whole life.
Your whole life?
Yeah.
So at least 20 years.
At least 20 years.
Man.
Thank you. Much more than 20, my friend. Here's you, come on. Oh, grab it, go. You're up. Why?
Anyone who has ever said fishing is slow has obviously never been out on these waters.
Come on. I think it broke off.
I snapped one line and lost another catch because a shark got to it before I could reel it in.
Yeah, he got eaten by a shark.
But John's always quick with some profound advice.
Do something!
Oh my God, that's a strong fish right there.
It is.
This feels different than the rock I caught earlier. I'm just getting weaker and weaker today as the day goes. Fish are getting stronger, you guys.
Don't forget rule number 1.
Don't it up. Finally got something.
That's a yellowtail, man.
my
Oh, it's
God,
a
you
big
guys.
yellowtail.
Woo!
There he is. That's a full-grown yellowtail snapper right there.
Look at that guy.
John and Captain Greg proved you can indeed teach a man to fish. They just didn't tell me my arms would be so smoked afterwards. Traveling back to shore with a few yellowtail in the cooler feels like a victory, and it finally gives me a moment to really soak in the beauty that is Islamorada.
Everywhere we look, it looks like a small town still, right? What does it feel like to you?
But the cool thing about Islamorada is that, this is a more relaxed lifestyle. Some of the most iconic marinas are here. Some of the best fishermen in the world fish out of here. It's beautiful, lots of great resorts, places to stay, great restaurants.
Yeah.
It's got everything. It's all kind of a balancing act, but it's worth protecting because it is a unique atmosphere, a unique environment, a unique ecosystem. There's nothing else like it. And we're pulling into the most iconic bar and restaurant in all of the Keys, in my opinion, the Lorelei.
The Lorelei restaurant has been around since the 1940s. It started as a simple fishing camp, just a dock, 2 folding chairs, and an honor system beer cooler. That spirit still carries through to this day, supporting the locals with the hook and cook. Bring them whatever you catch, and they'll clean it and cook it any way you want. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do now that my rookie league reeling arms have called it quits for the day. I meet up with Lorelei manager Mike Wilkinson, who takes me into the kitchen to cook up our catch 3 different ways, starting with their most popular, blackened.
Creamy's going to go ahead and butter our flat top to prepare your fish. Thereafter, he will use this blackened seasoning and he'll provide a light coat on each side.
So it just goes straight from fish into the blackening seasoning right into a hot buttered griddle. That's it.
Correct.
So it all,
Generally speaking, with a grilled fish and trying to put griddle marks on it, tends to tear, especially with these white fish.
yeah, this is kind of a delicate fish, yeah?
Correct. So we used our flat top.
That smell of the blackening spice reminds me of like every restaurant I've worked in. Beautiful crust on the outside. It's not burnt. This is like perfect, but you can still see the red color of the seasoning. All right, Mike, look at this. Gorgeous. Our grilled fish, our blackened fish, our delicious batter fried fish. Are we done? Is that it?
With the frying, we're just going to simple tartar sauce.
All right, we love it.
Squirt of lemon and lime.
Love it.
With the blackened, we are going to pair it with a key lime peppercorn sauce.
Whoa, that sounds
which
gorgeous.
Chef will make for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And then for this grilled fish, we'll do a key lime caper sauce.
Ah.
All sauce is made in-house.
So Chef's gonna make that, and then we get to eat.
With a school of fish and dipping sauce options in hand, Mike, Lorelei server Madison, and I take a seat at one of the waterfront tables to take in this view and wonderful atmosphere.
Key lime peppercorn has just enough acid in it. It's not peppery, overpowering. It's delicious.
Tell you what, you can call it a real good fish. That's phenomenal.
And then what are these delicious drinks we're having?
It is called the Purple Island, which is the translation of Islamorada from Spanish to English.
Oh, really? That's what the
Islamorada stands
name
for
is.
Purple Island.
How long has the Lorelei been here?
Lorelei opened in '64, if I'm not mistaken, so we're now at 60 years. The owners have known me since I was born, and now my children work here alongside of them. That's what the Keys is all about. This is the island lifestyle, and we really, truly just embody that family persona. Everyone looks out for everyone, and we really, really, truly love that. It's not the city life, but it's the island life. There's a reason I'm raising all 4 of my children down here, and I call this place home. You get drawn into the islands, you get drawn into the water, you get drawn into the atmosphere.
It's all here.
Everything you could ever want.
With your family.
And that's exactly what this place is. It's a family.
And just when you think the experience can't get any better, Mother Nature asks you to hold her drink and cues up a sunset. I can see why the sunset celebrations are so popular here. The restaurant faces west, and the waterfront offers spectacular and unobstructed views. Not a bad way at all to wrap up a full day on Islamorada. Continuing my journey across the Florida Keys, I make my way to Key Largo, Spanish for Long Key. Key Largo is the first island reached via the overseas highway after leaving the mainland. It's here that I'm linking up with Nick Oberzoot of Key Largo Fisheries, a longtime staple of the neighborhood. Ever dream of casually feeding sharks like a Bond villain? This is the place to do it. Key Largo Fisheries handles everything from shore to plate in one location. Fishing in the Keys is a major industry, and for 50 years, they've operated as a fishery, storefront, and cafe in the community. Almost nothing goes to waste here. They recycle trimmings into bait and other products.
So here we are in our production area.
Yeah.
We process both seafood and bait here. Right now we're doing lobster and our hogfish, and then after lunch we're gonna hop into our ballyhoo.
All the fish that we're looking at here, it's all local, regional fish.
This is local lobster that came in from our fishermen last night.
All right, what is this we're looking at here?
This is yellowtail snapper. This is one of the most common fish that we have here in the Florida Keys. Nothing goes to waste.
Okay.
All of the scraps here, the fish heads we keep. As we're going into stone crab season, the fishermen will actually use these snapper heads as bait, and then the fishermen in return will bring us their stone crab or lobster.
Everything's getting recycled and turned into something more useful.
All right, so here we are. We're tailing some lobsters.
What is this? Did you devise this thing here?
This right here is a shoehorn that we had created. We use it to tail all of our lobsters. This will help out get some of this excess meat that can be caught between the head here.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So when you're tailing, when you're tailing several, 1,000 pounds of lobster a day, getting that extra little meat definitely counts.
Twists. Look at that nice clean
Twist, there
break.
you go,
Comes
clean
right
cut.
off.
The heads go down. We keep the heads. A lot of places will buy our heads to make lobster bisque or to make a
lobster stock. Yeah. One of my first restaurant jobs was making lobster stock.
There you go.
Doing giant kettles. All right, can I try one?
Down there and twist.
And then am I twisting the right side?
Then you twist the head. Yep. Like that. Head goes down.
Yeah.
There you go. You're good to go.
Nice clean meat.
Pro. We stay busy here at Key Largo Fisheries, but it's not me that runs it. It's the crew that's all here. It's a great family-run operation. They're the guys at the end of the day that make it all work. Without them, we wouldn't be able to operate how we've been for so many years.
Why is that? Why is that so important here?
They got a good neighborhood feel, local feel. We take care of each other here. Everybody knows each other's name going around. So that's
what it is.
That's that vibe right there that we like to keep.
So cool.
People here eat well. You know how you can tell? Access. Key Largo Fisheries has a market that screams this. Looking for stone crab? They've got that South Florida delicacy in droves. Forgot your hammer? They got that too.
Obviously, people love coming here.
Yep.
Why do you think people want to come and see this happen?
I think people like to see how the food that they're eating, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You feel much closer. Being in society that we have right now, we're very far separated from where the food is coming from. People can walk into the store, see the fish that's getting cut, see the fishermen bringing the fish into the dock, seeing it displayed right here in our retail case.
Got this beautiful lineup of fish here for folks to come in and buy, but I also know that you've got a restaurant here.
We do have a restaurant here, a backyard cafe.
Sometimes you don't want to cook, which is good for me because I have built a career around that little fact. Lucky for us, they've built the backyard cafe, and Drew here is the manager. Ask him what's his favorite dish, and he'll point you to the simple and colorful ceviche. The secret to making this is simple. Start with the freshest produce you can get your hands on, and add even fresher fish.
That is a lot of ceviche right there. You didn't mess with it, just fish.
Just fish.
Beautiful fresh vegetables and chilies, a little bit of salt, lime and lemon juice, that's it.
Not many, just very simple.
To go with the ceviche, Drew's having them cook up one of their most asked for dishes, the local favorite, deep-fried yellowtail.
Well, our fish in this kitchen comes directly from the shore to our door. You can't get any fresher.
This is the ceviche we just got to watch Rigo make. There's a tremendous amount of flavor in there. The fish has a lovely texture. Chips, the corn flavor, it's beautiful.
Not bag, those are homemade.
This is our snapper. And normally when you serve yellowtail, when people eat, are they just eating it like this or are they eating
You
it
just
with
pick
bread?
it with your hands.
That's actually the first time I've had yellowtail without batter or anything, so you can taste it. For people who don't like fishy fish, it doesn't taste fishy at all. Look at that. Beautiful, nice and fleshy and white, delicious. Got some lemon juice on there.
Fresh, firm, white meat.
Yep. That was a wonderful lunch, but there is a lot more to see. I need to head south to Marathon to hunt for lionfish. It's a new day in the Florida Keys, and I'm making my way down to Castaway Restaurant on Marathon. I was warned not to let the outside fool me. It looks like a place you take your boat to get fixed, and maybe that makes sense because the owner, John Marabella, is a former submariner, sailor, and fisherman. When you picture someone who's dedicated his life to the sea, you should picture John. Not only did he get into the restaurant game by chance, he was one of the first to help fight an invasive species here in Florida, the lionfish, by serving it up on his menu. How do you go from being a Navy submarine specialist to suddenly being in the restaurant business, and of all things on earth, to specialize in a fish that no one has ever eaten? So how does that happen?
I'm from Florida. I grew up on the water sailing and going to the Bahamas. I love the ocean, and I wound up in the Pacific on a submarine, and I ended up buying a sailboat there. And when I got tired of being in California, I sailed home.
So you went from California all the way back to Florida, as one does.
Through the Panama Canal.
Holy crap, really? What are you sailing at that point?
A 36-foot plywood home-built trimaran.
So you're going through the Panama Canal in a 36-foot homemade boat.
Plywood.
Plywood boat.
Plywood sailboat.
And then somehow you went from being a sailor to being a restaurant owner.
I needed a place to park my sailboat.
Okay.
So I bought this building, and it happened to be a restaurant.
A really thriving, successful restaurant when you got it?
No.
John's all about the can-do spirit. Got a struggling restaurant? John fixed it up and turned it into a popular tourist destination. Got an invasive species destroying the local reefs? John figured, let's eat our way out of the problem, and created the king of the jungle sushi roll that features the invasive lionfish. Lionfish is known for its mild white meat, and if I'm gonna try some, I need to catch some first. The lionfish live around 200 feet down on the reef, and they can only be caught one at a time by spearfishing. Lucky for me, John and his team are certified scuba divers and incredibly experienced at spearfishing. Me, not so much, by which I mean not at all. So I'll need to rely on their expertise if we're gonna catch anything.
Lionfish didn't start showing up in the Florida Keys until around 07 or maybe 08.
Okay.
I believe that they came through in the ballast water of big ships.
Okay.
Okay, ships coming through the Panama Canal. Here, they don't have a natural predator, so what happened is we had a population explosion.
Yeah.
So the very first time we saw a lionfish, we had read about it, and we're down there and we're spearfishing for other fish for the restaurant, and it's like, oh, there's one of those lionfish. Well, we'll just shoot that thing. And then we had to take it back to the restaurant, eat it, of course, because the rule of the boat is we don't kill what we don't eat. It just came about. It was an unplanned thing, but we started serving them and it got very popular, and then it blew up.
So how far out are we right now?
Now we're 4 miles out, and this particular area we're in isn't a well-marked edge. It's a lot of patch reef, so it's broken up.
Okay.
So the 4 of us can spread out a little bit and hopefully find some great fish. Air's on. Let's go.
It's really interesting to watch the team work. Again, I'm not a diver and I've never been spearfishing before, so this is all new to me. Despite it being beautiful above water, on this particular day, the conditions below are so much more challenging with limited visibility. I'm no expert, but I think you'll need to see what you're trying to catch. Luckily, the crew has a keen eye. We got a diver up in the water coming up right now. We got a lionfish. Kevin's got a lionfish. John taught me an important distinction about the lionfish. They are venomous, but not poisonous. So as long as you don't stick yourself on one of those spines, you're good to go. And once those are removed, the fish is completely safe to eat. It shouldn't be confused with something like a blowfish, which is poisonous and can be fatal if prepared wrong. Back at the castaway, it's time for a quick lesson on preparing the day's catch.
So this is the invasive species of lionfish. 19 of the spines on this fish are venomous. The truth of the matter is when it comes to cleaning them, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
We usually cut them off with scissors.
Yeah.
When we're processing in large quantities, just to make it easier to handle
Pop them
them.
off. As regular fish go, is everything else edible, or?
Everything else is perfectly fine.
And do they yield a good amount of meat?
No.
Okay, all right. A lot of work could potentially put you down for a few days, and if everything goes well, you get a tiny little bit of meat off of there.
Exactly. Right.
No, it's perfect.
Smartest business plan ever, right?
That's why people come to you for it, because not everybody's going to get into this business.
True story.
Unbelievable. As an invasive species, is this something that you're allowed to freely go and hunt for, or are there seasons? How does that work for something like this?
So this fish is a problem. You don't need a license to hunt for it.
Okay.
You can take as many as you want. You don't have to measure them.
And for people that want to go fish for this, it isn't something they're just going to do on their own. They need to go with somebody local who knows the waters, who's going to take them diving. If you're thinking about how much you'd love to come to the Florida Keys and go spear fishing for lionfish, you're going to need somebody like John to take you out, because you're probably not going to do it on your own.
This is where the kitchen takes over. The crew at Castaway prepares a wide variety of sushi rolls, unique appetizers such as the stuffed avocado, and inviting entrees that I am excited to experience.
John, it looks like you ordered one of everything on the menu for us.
I just picked my favorites, and I haven't eaten today.
Okay, that's true. We've been on the boat for a few hours. Oh, good Lord.
That's seafood marabella.
Seafood marabella, that sounds like it was named after you.
I had something to do with it. It's a pink sauce that we make with rigatoni, and it's got shrimp and scallops, nice, fresh, deep water scallops, and clams, and a piece of mahi. And it's topped with fontina cheese. This is my favorite.
Really?
That is a Florida pompano,
Okay.
butterflied, skin on. It is pure butter.
I really want to dive into the sushi, so I'm going to move out front and center. This is a fish we spent all day going after. You went diving for. What do you recommend? How do we do this?
The truth is, there's enough going on there. You might try the first bite
All right.
without anything.
I'm going to do one bite, nothing. That fish is incredibly mild. Incredibly delicate and mild in flavor.
Great, isn't it?
And then do you eat the rest of it too, or what happens there?
You can pick the meat out of the head. Some people do, some people don't. Some people say, I don't want to eat my meal. I saw a picture online. I want the roll. I don't want the head.
Okay. In this whole series of islands, with as many tourists that come through here in your peak seasons, you still have a tremendous community of employees and friends and people that all support each other. I mean, you're literally in the middle of a neighborhood that you built. That's got to be pretty cool.
It's not a bad feeling.
Yeah?
Thanks for seeing that.
Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful host. Just feels like we're going from one neighborhood to another where, it's just people that know each other and live together and work together and figure it out. It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed the day with you. You're a lot of fun.
Thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
That was super cool. Thank you.
No,
Thanks,
awesome
John.
day. Awesome day.
It's easy to eat your way through the Florida Keys. And the other great thing, there are so many opportunities to burn it off. On my way to Big Pine Key, I stop at Bahia Honda State Park. This once remote island became a popular getaway after industrialist Henry Flagler's railroad opened in 1912 and connected the Keys to mainland Florida. The park is now well known for clear waters, beaches, and some great water sports. A little further south of Bahia Honda State Park is Big Pine Key. Unique to Big Pine Key are the endangered key deer. There are less than 1,000 of these deer left. What stands out most about them, they grow to be only 2.5 feet tall. Despite that they live primarily on Big Pine, they've been known to swim between the other islands. They can be sometimes hard to spot, but while you're looking for them, you might also find the No Name Pub. The quirky, out-of-the-way destination has an extensive history dating back to the 1930s. Today, it's known for cash-lined walls, as well as for being a great place to enjoy classic pub staples or one of their originals like a white shrimp pizza or a calzone. I'm meeting up with the no-name pub manager, Bree Lexel, surrounded by what I can only assume is her retirement account. Thank you. This is your house beer that you're known for?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Beautiful, it's
a
an
darker
amber.
beer, yep. It's a darker beer, but tastes like light.
Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, look at this pizza.
Got the white shrimp pizza, and then we got the calzone.
This is like literally my childhood most favorite food growing up into this day, calzone. So I'm so happy to have all this. This is such a wild space inside, right? Like I've never seen anything like this. The place itself has a very colorful history. How does a place like this even exist?
Originally, it was a tackle shop, general store back in 1931 because that's when it was built. And then 1936 is when they extended the small room with the new owner. Everyone was coming here because this used to be the original US 1. So when you would take the ferry, this was your first stop before you went down to Key West.
So that was before the highway was over there?
Yes.
So this is where it all started. That explains it, okay.
Yes, it was a dirt path, no lights, nothing, just you had to find it.
Wow. There's more of a colorful story about the business before it became a pub.
It was also a brothel. It didn't last very long. Maybe that was a good thing. I don't know. So back in the 70s, they say there was a lot of, I guess, illegal money around here. So people were spending money left and right. So, I mean, this was the place to come. I mean, pool tables, games, I mean, you name it. And just, they're like, you know what? We got all this money to spend. Let's start tacking dollar bills on the wall.
Oh, really? So it was like they had too much money.
Too much money.
Too much money, so like, we have all this money to spend, what are we gonna do with it? Let's put it on the walls.
Yep, but it was definitely a crazy moment back then.
So along the way, it's been a little bit of everything that was part of the community here.
Yes.
That is everything. Every delicious calzone I've ever had in my life, put together in the Florida Keys, just across the street from the ocean. It does not get better. On the staff shirts, you got deer graphics. When we were pulling up, I saw a deer walking around out there.
They're very tiny. They're cute, yes.
And are you allowed to go pet them? Can you take one home with you?
No, so you can't pet them, feed them, touch them. They're protected.
That's it. So you've got deer protected here. I know further down in Key West, chicken are protected there. You've got this whole kind of conservancy thing happening of animals and wildlife that totally not expected. You expect sharks and dolphins and fish to be protected. No, we got chickens and cats and
now we have
deer that are protected. That just makes it that much more interesting. One last thing to do. You can't leave No Name Pub without being part of the tradition. So let's make it official. One of the lesser-known islands in the Lower Keys, Cudjoe Key, is home to a special restaurant tucked away in the beauty of this quiet area. Broil's Small Island Steakhouse, a relative newcomer on the island, opened in 2021 and brought a classic white linen steakhouse to the Florida Keys that was quickly welcomed by the community. Brad Weiss and his daughter Lola manage and operate this wonderful establishment. One thing that quickly sets them apart, aside from their elevated decor, is the oak wood fire that they use to add a whole other level of flavor to their food. The name Broil sounds like a steakhouse. Is that what you're known for down here? What is your...
Steak and seafood, we're
so
known for steak and steak,
Did I read somewhere that you're from Missouri?
We're from Missouri,
How does someone from Missouri get to the Florida Keys and start running a broil steak and seafood restaurant?
It's quite a story. I had a friend down here that was that started this, and I came down to help him, and he decided he didn't want to do it. So it's too much. So
that's usually how it goes.
He asked if I would be interested in buying it, so I went back to Missouri, presented it to my family, and they were like, let's do it, let's do it. So 2 weeks before this happened, it was not on our radar.
Oh
my son and I got in the truck and came down and hit the ground running.
So this is a family operation?
Absolutely. My son went back, he comes back and forth. My daughter came down, she's an accountant, she was working in a firm, so it took her a little while to wrap that up, and then she came down, and she and I are down here full time.
This is still one of those surprising things that are happening here in the Florida Keys, which is I've expected the roadside bars and the regular, fried food emporiums, but another gorgeous white linen, kind of a throwback to like the nicer, fancier days restaurants when you really like dress nice. I put on pants for dinner tonight. So Brad and Lola are aiming to create that classic white linen elevated steakhouse atmosphere, and these dishes help accomplish that. Leaning into their trademark wood oak grill, this locally sourced swordfish is grilled to a beautiful medium rare and placed on top of a lobster cream sauce.
Lobster cream sauce was so good.
Next, the house specialty, the Bentley, a 10-ounce South African rock lobster tail accompanied by an 8-ounce bacon-wrapped filet mignon. This lobster is known for its light, sweet flavor, a perfect pairing for the rich filet. And of course, we have the classic beef Wellington, but with a slight twist. Instead of the usual mushroom coating, this filet mignon is first rubbed with Dijon, then wrapped in prosciutto before being baked in a puff pastry. It's a favorite dish for a reason.
That was really good, man. The prosciutto adds a layer of saltiness that you don't get from mushroom. It's a really nice contrast with the pastry. Really lovely.
We also get to experience a few wonderful sides, including a classic rock salt baked potato, fried asparagus with the house béarnaise sauce, and a different take on grilled asparagus using a fried egg instead of the béarnaise sauce to top it off.
Very good. You get the nice grilled taste of it, and the egg is nice and mild and mellow. You gave up a career, a promising career in accounting to go into the family business of restaurants.
Yes, I did.
Is that driven by love, or did your dad guilt you into coming down to the Keys with him?
Oh, no, I would say he probably did this mainly because of me wanting to do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I would say my dream leaving high school was to own a restaurant.
In any restaurant business, the hardest part and the most complicated part is what you do. Having been in the restaurant business myself, it's like, God, if I just had somebody that was involved in the business that could help manage the numbers, help manage the business, because I can do food all day long. I can handle guests all day long. I can handle everything else. This is what I couldn't handle.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it without her. She can do it without me. I couldn't do it without her.
This is incredible food. What a great space you've built here. I mean, you've just really genuinely created something so wonderful and unexpected.
Been very well received.
Yeah.
So many wonderful folks that support us, love us, you know, frequent us, and it's been really a nice experience. Yeah. Coming down to the Keys with the family has been quite an adventure.
Counting down the mile markers on the overseas highway, you'll eventually get to zero. And that's when you've arrived at Key West, the southernmost point in the continental U.S. Surprisingly, Key West was the largest city in all of Florida for a time because it was an ideal location for trade throughout the Caribbean. Pepe's Cafe hasn't been here since those days, but it's not too far off. Over the course of its 100 years of history, it has welcomed everyone from former presidents to celebrities to average Joes just like me. In fact, I met Cindy Crawford and her husband having breakfast here only a week earlier. I knew it was a good place the second I learned that several employees have worked here for 15 to 20 years. I've worked in restaurants most of my career, and I can tell you that is something pretty special in the industry. I'm linking up with Marco Mandich, the manager at Pepe's Cafe.
The oldest eatery in the South Florida, and we treat people like family here.
What is going on with the phone booth back here? What is that?
This phone booth, it's mainly serves during the storm.
Okay.
So when there's no power, there's no connection, there's no nothing, you still can call any country in the world from this phone for free. We name it like Call Your Mom. Okay. So it's a big attraction. People come in here and then they do go and call their moms.
They go in there and call your mom, right?
Yeah.
So when you come to Pepe's, you got to get in the booth and call your mom.
So this place clearly acts as a hub for the community. And it's not just the free phone calls that bring people in. I think it's time to order up a few of their popular dishes. Let's start with this very rich-looking French toast, classic Eggs Benedict, and a Western omelet with fresh baked chocolate bread. That's right, chocolate bread. I'm starting to see why people become regulars here.
I was just talking to the ladies behind me. One of them just said she was coming here in 1982.
Yeah, that's a story we hear all the time.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes we get 90, 95 years old couple.
Yeah.
They say they've been coming here since they're 20.
Got a bartender who's been here 27 years, who essentially has her breakfast club here every morning.
Every day we have 5, 6 people that come every single day to see Kara.
Just to hang out with her.
To hang out with her. She treats them like family, and that's what people like.
Dude.
The food is always fresh. We don't have freezer. We get deliveries every day, and once you come to Pepe's, you fall in love.
All right, what is happening here? What is the black bread?
So we bake bread every day. We have a homemade bread. Every day is different. Today is a chocolate bread. And to be honest, this is my favorite thing in here, this chocolate bread. It's amazing.
All right, I gotta try some of this. It is like bread. Just happens to be chocolate.
It is really good, right?
And it's so good. It's not super sugary and cakey. It's just bread.
Yeah.
I've never had that. I've never had this chocolate bread. Dude, that's so good. What do you think it is about Key West specifically that people just from all over the world just can't get enough of this place? What is it? You live here. What do you think it is?
I mean, I have lived in different parts of the world. I have traveled all over the place, but Key West is a really unique place. You know, my mom has a nice saying about this place. She said, you know, living here is like a fairy tale. And while you're here, you forget about your daily problems.
One constant you'll see as you travel the Florida Keys is every menu features a key lime pie. The pie is so ingrained in the culture here, the state of Florida named it the official state pie in 2006. I've held off trying a slice because I knew I was coming here, Kermit's, right in the heart of Key West. Founded by Kermit Carpenter over 30 years ago, this purveyor of pies was inspired by his grandmother's original recipe. Kermit's has been voted the best key lime pie in Florida for several years running. And if you can't tell, this guy is really into key lime pie.
I've been hearing about key lime pie my whole life. I don't think I've ever actually had the real deal. So I feel like that's why I had to meet you today and come here.
Well, there's a lot of copies out there that are imitations that don't use the real ingredients that Grandma did when she made her key lime pie. So we're going to introduce you to the real thing.
Kermit, don't be offended, but I've never been a huge fan of key lime pie. And I figured if I come to the OG, the original Kermit, then maybe you can help change my mind.
Oh, we're going to do our darndest. That's our traditional key lime pie.
Okay.
That's our strawberry key lime pie.
Strawberries.
Gluten-free.
All right.
And there's our coconut key lime pie.
And so it all started with the original.
Correct.
This is Grandma's recipe?
That's it.
Did you grow up here in Florida?
No, my grandmother spent her winters down here.
Okay.
And I got to come down and visit her when I was a senior in high school back in the 60s.
Yeah. And then Grandma was just making pie and she had her recipe.
She had her recipe and she taught it to me.
When you got into this, were you already baking? Were you in the restaurant food world? Or how did you, because this is not just making pie at home. This is a production. This is a business.
I was working for a major department store in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And one winter I decided I'd had enough of it and said, I'm going south.
When did you realize that there was something really special happening there?
It took a few years. When I opened this store 30 plus years ago, there was nothing down here. This is a dead corner.
Was it really?
This land sat empty for years.
And you've got more stores, right?
Yes.
So do you do production here, or do you have a separate place where you do all the production?
We do the production for Key West here, and then we have a separate production facility for the other locations.
All right, I gotta try some pie. I'm gonna start with the traditional. I come from Colorado, where key lime didn't grow that heartily there. So I didn't grow up with an appreciation of key lime pie. That is way more rich in custardy and less of that tart lime taste that you get when you get just regular store-bought key lime pies.
Correct.
I mean, it's intensely key lime flavored, but it's a delicious dessert. That is really beautiful. What do we have here?
About 25 years ago, I was out in California.
Yep.
And I went into this shop and they had cheesecake dipped in chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh, I bet the key lime pie would be good that way.
I'm gonna have a bite of this. I have to, it looks too good. Oh man, that chocolate offsets the sharpness of the lime so well. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
This is delicious, and this is gonna go into the regular lineup of my desserts. Thanks for the lovely treats. This has been so wonderful. Thank you, Kermit.
Thank you.
I've almost run out of road on this trip, and there's no better way to cap it off than with a little rum. But not just any rum. The Hemingway Rum Company at Papa's Pilar Distillery was inspired by Ernest Hemingway, arguably Key West's most famous resident. The man served in 2 world wars, was a journalist, fisherman, and most notably a Nobel Prize-winning novelist. A pretty strong figure to model your spirit after.
Oh my God, it smells so
good in here.
It should. This is the distillery, and in fact, all of the barrels that you're looking at has rum in it. Rum was so popular at one point that it was considered the same value as gold.
Really?
So a lot of people used rum as currency.
And now we've got a poster that says right here, the most interesting man in the world. Every other interesting man in the world has been some sort of a copy of Ernest Hemingway.
Many people like yourself come here to Key West knowing that Hemingway lived a great deal of his life here.
Wow.
So we dedicated kind of this wall to encapsulate his life. This is a school project where he had to talk about his favorite things. The last line is what's really going to get you. When I grow up, I intend to travel and write.
This is just a very young child Hemingway. He knows he's going to someday become the adventurer, the explorer, this great, larger-than-life storyteller that he turns into and he becomes.
Exactly.
This is incredible.
And that's what we wanted to model our rum after.
Okay.
We wanted our rum to be bold and really kind of get into that adventurous spirit. We are a custom blended rum.
Okay.
Most rums are custom blended like Scotch. So we source from exquisite places throughout the Caribbean and Central America, plus make our own.
Wow.
So any rum you're gonna taste when we do our tasting is actually a blend of various different rums.
Right.
So this is fresh rum. It has not been barreled, but it has been proofed down because when rum comes off the still, it comes off anywhere between 160, 170 proof.
Yeah.
A little hot.
Yeah, that's definitely aggressive.
But this,
Yeah.
we proofed down to 80.
Okay. That's a manageable,
That's manageable.
early morning rum if you're in Key
Exactly.
West.
And we always like to start you with our fresh rum so then you can see what the magic happens when rum gets put into barrel.
I almost inhaled it. It has that really intense grappa-like taste when you get that first inhale of it.
But this rum, for example, is called our blonde. It is a blend of 6 different rums. The oldest rum in here, it's young, is only 7 years old. And that is an 84 proof. This rum goes through bourbon barrels, and then it goes through sherry casks. So you're also going to get a little pop.
With so much sweetness, like a really, creamy, lush sweetness already.
This is our flagship dark.
Okay.
This is a blend of 9 different rums.
Whoa.
The oldest rum in here is 24 years old.
Oh, man.
Our dark goes through bourbon barrels, then it goes through ruby port barrels, and then it goes in sherry casks.
There is so much completely unexpected flavor notes in here. Because I'm getting like this raspberry cassis thing happening, which I've never gotten out of a rum. Sipping on these fine spirits in their natural form should help me more appreciate them as a component in a cocktail. To test this theory, we head into the distillery's bar where the team has created something special just for me.
You mentioned you love mojitos.
I do love a mojito.
So I had Miss Ashley make a mojito for you. Love that.
And I can't thank you enough for taking the time to do this.
Cheers.
Show me around. Thank you.
It was indeed a pleasure.
The Florida Keys may be a series of islands stretching out over 100 miles, but the people here have built a uniquely tight-knit community.
It's worth protecting because it is a unique atmosphere, a unique environment, a unique ecosystem. It's a big yellowtail.
Look at that guy.
Not the city life, but it's the island life.
Everyone I've encountered has been welcoming and passionate about the neighborhoods they live in.
Smartest business plan ever, right?
That's why people come to you for it, because not everybody's going to get into this business. The Keys are a beautiful spot to experience, and you can't go wrong with a place that revolves around fresh seafood, rum, key lime pie, community, and enjoying all that island life has to offer.
Dude, that's so good.